Hey guys, today we're going to write a really fun poem. It's called Creature Alliteration. Now some of us started this a few weeks ago in our group Zoom session, and some of you may not have started at all. And that's okay. We're going to actually start at the beginning today so that nobody misses anything. I'm going to be writing one right along with you. So I'm going to set up the document camera, and I would like you to go and get your creature alliteration poetry sheet from your poetry booklet. And I will see you back here really quick. Okay, so here we are with our creature alliteration poem. If you remember back near the beginning of our poetry lessons, we did one called Alliteration, and it really wasn't a full poem, but we were playing around with the idea of alliteration. And if you can remember, that means that we are writing a sentence, usually a silly sentence, that uses words that mostly start with the same sound or letter in them. And so we're going to have that within here quite a bit to create this fun poem. Creature alliteration is a humorous poem about an imaginary creature. If you remember, humorous just means funny or silly. Each line of the poem should have at least 4 words that begin with the same letter. Now, I don't know about you, but I had some difficulty when we did the alliteration one. It was fun, but it took me a little while. So this poem could take you a while. You might want to work on this over a couple of sessions or over a couple of different days. Also, you may want to use Google to look up or, to ask it for other words that start with the letter that you're going to be doing. It can be quite helpful. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit. Okay, so here are the directions for this poem. You're going to write the name of a creature, and then you're going to add I-A-N to the end. Now this can be the name of a creature that already exists and you're changing it by adding I-A-N, or it can be a completely made up name, and I'll show you some examples. Your poem's going to answer these questions. Where does it live? What does it eat? What does it like? You're going to write a fact about your creature, and you're going to write something about what your creature did. Now, this is all may seem like, oh yeah, that'll be easy. But remember, we're going to be using alliteration to do it. So here's an example. This person took the name of a creature, troll, and then added the ending I-A-N to make a new creature. This is a trollean. A trollean lives in tiny, terrible, terrifying tunnels. A trollean eats trout, tri-tips, and tasty truffles. A trollean likes triangles, turtles, and tropical trees. A trollean trains tigers and tracks tarantulas. My trollean tried to tackle 20 teenagers. Okay, I love the sound of this. It's always so fun to play with alliteration. And this one is quite well done. Okay, so to help you with this, you are going to be asked to pause the video at certain points to think of some of your own ideas. All right, and I'm going to write mine right along with you. So I want to keep this sheet handy, actually. Now, unfortunately, in your booklet, these are back to back, right? Yours pages like this. I just happen to have another copy. So you'll probably have to do a lot of flipping around. Well, actually, maybe not, if you're doing this right along with me. Okay, so I decided to use my creature from, if you remember, way back at the very beginning when we started our learning from home. We did made up a planet, and my planet was Sparkleon. And so I decided to make a creature sort of based on that. That's where I'm getting my idea. Okay, so right in this part here, I'm going to name my creature. This is a trollean. Mine is going to be a, so I'm going to take the word sparkle and I'm just going to add I-A-N to the end. Now, you may want to come up with your own based on the planet you did back then. You might want to completely make up your own creature. Take a creature like troll. Don't use troll though, because that's our example here. Or, you know, I was going to say a unicorn, but you have to be really careful because remember, we're going to take the sound that it starts with and use it all through our poem. So if you take something like a U, which actually has that one has the long U sound, so it has the U sound, that's going to be really hard to come up with other words that start with that letter. S is a really common letter. We're going to see that it's quite easy to come up with some S words. T is a common letter. R would be another good one. Some of those ones where you know you'll be able to think of lots of words. Okay, so as you pick your creature, I want you to think about that. So I took my creature based on my planet, but you could also take, if you're really stuck, you can take an animal, but then change the ending to have that I-A-N ending. So for example, you could take monkey, and it could be a monkeyan, or the word lion and make it lionian. And just put the I-A-N at the end. Okay, or a snakeyan. And then just keep in mind that even though you started with an animal name, that really was just to get your idea. And it doesn't have to be about things. For example, if you did snakeyan, your poem doesn't have to be true facts about snakes in any way. We're taking it just to get the name of our creature, but really we're making a brand new creature. It doesn't even have to have anything to do with a snake. All right, so I'd like you to take a few minutes to see if you can come up with your own creature name. Just pause the video, work on it for a little bit, and when you have it, I want you to write it here and here. And then don't forget to press play on the video again when you're ready to do more. Okay, so you should have your creature name in the two spots. Just gonna zoom in a little bit more here. Okay, so now when I look at the example, a Trullian lives in tiny, terrible, terrifying tunnels. The easiest thing to do is to pick the actual place that your creature lives. Now, this doesn't have to be a place where a creature would normally live, right? Creatures could live in all kinds of things. So it really just needs to be an object, something. Okay? So for my poem, okay, I know studios. So I'm going to start here at the end. Okay, because these words are going to be three adjectives or describing words to describe the place. All right, so I would like you to take a few moments to come up with a place, the thing that your creature could live in. Okay, so now that I have my place here, I'm going to put three words that describe this place that also start with the first letter of my creature. Okay, and so I'm going to have, of course, it's got to be sparkly, smelly, and then another word that starts with S that describes it is silent. Okay, a Sparklian lives in sparkly, smelly, silent studios. Take a moment to come up, or more than a moment, with your words. If you have Google or you have your computer handy, you can also look up adjectives that start with S or R or whatever your letter is. All right, pause the video now. Okay, so our next part is to put our creature name again, a Sparklian eats. Now I'm going to come up with some words for food, or different types of food that start with S. Now when I look again at the example, it's got trout, tri-tips, and tasty truffles. I'm not even sure what tri-tips are. I'm thinking maybe there's some kind of leafy vegetable. I like that at the end it wasn't just 1, 2, 3, 4 different things. It was 1, 2, 3 things, but the second last word was a describing word for the last food item. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. So some foods that start with my letter. Now, it doesn't even have to be things that you would regularly eat. It could be strange things that your creature eats. So I'm going to do strawberries, spaghetti, and now I'm going to put in a describing word before my last food, both starting with S. So I'm going to do slimy sardines. And I don't know, if you don't know what sardines are, they're like these tiny little stinky fish that usually come in a can or a jar. I could have done stinky sardines, but I'm going to keep it as slimy. A sparkly and eats strawberries, spaghetti, slimy sardines. Okay, now I noticed in the example they've got the word and here, so I'm actually going to stick that right in here. I think that sounds better. A sparkly and eats strawberries, spaghetti, and slimy sardines. Okay, now you are going to pause the video again and come up with your foods, and don't forget to see if you can come up with another adjective to describe your last food. So altogether you'll have 3 foods. These go together. Pause the video, but don't forget to come back. All right, moving on, we're going to put our creature name again here. A sparklian likes. So looking over here, likes triangles, turtles, and tropical trees. Okay, again, I like that the last 2 words went together. So there was a describing word for the trees, tropical trees. So instead of 4 different things that the Trollian likes, there's 3 with the describing word again. And I like that they didn't use necessarily food again. So this is separate things. So I know it used a shape. You don't have to use a shape, but I can think of a shape that starts with S, so I'm going to do that. Sparklian likes squares. I used an animal. You don't need to use an animal, but I can think of one too, so I'm going to do squirrels. Who doesn't like squirrels anyway? And then I'm going to do a describing word again here. So I'm going to put and sparkly. There has to be something about sparkles. Sparkly smiles. A sparklian like squares, squirrels, and sparkly smiles. I think alliteration is so fun. Okay, don't forget you can look things up that begin with your letter to help you out. Pause the video and put in the things, 3 things, 1 with the describing word, that your creature likes. All right, so we're almost there. This last part is a fact about your creature. So in the example, a Trollian trains tigers and tracks tarantulas. There's kind of 2 facts there. So mine is going to be a sparklian. So let's get your creature name in first. Maybe do that right now so you don't forget. And then we're going to add in the words. I'm going to say a sparkling sometimes sings special songs. Okay, this one can be a little bit tricky, but it can be any fact about your creature. All right, take your time. Don't forget to use Google if you need to come up with some interesting words that start with your letter to tell a fact about your creature. Press pause now. Okay. Oh, I like this one. So if we're taking our creature name and putting it in my creature, so this one in the example, it says write about something your creature did, so that it already did. It's in the past. My Trollian tried to tackle 20 teenagers. Okay, I think I'm going to do my Sparklian, so you can write your creature name right now before you forget. My Sparklian sprinkled sparkles, of course, on, I was going to say a spider, but I could put in a number word on 7 spiders, and then that adds in an extra word that starts with S. My Sparklian sprinkled sparkles on 7 spiders. So if you're going to Google, you can kind of Google, you sort of need an action word. So remember, our action words are called verbs. So you could Google verbs that start with S or verbs that start with T, whatever your letter is. Okay, and then see what you can come up with. And here is my final poem. This is a Sparklian. A Sparklian lives in sparkly, smelly, silent studios. A Sparklian eats strawberries, spaghetti, and slimy sardines. A Sparklian likes squares, squirrels, and sparkly smiles. A Sparklian sometimes sings special songs. My Sparklian sprinkled sparks. It's a tongue twister. My Sparklian sprinkled sparkles on 7 spiders. And I did a little illustration of my Sparklian. I'm trying to catch the sparkles on there. Okay. I am really looking forward to seeing your creature alliteration poems. I know it's going to take some work, but it's fun work. Have some fun with this, and I really look forward to seeing what you come up with. I will talk to you very soon.